of you that don't know me, my name is Sarah O'Connell. And I am a mama of two. I have a third on the way. I have two busy boys, 5 and 8, and then we have a little girl on the way. So, and I have been in It Works for probably 7.5 years now, which is just so crazy to think about, because I always go back to like day one where we have some of those fears, and I'm like, I just kept remember, even when things were going so great, right? And I got my 10, I'm like, oh, this is so good while it lasts. See, I warn you about my children, but not my black lab. Sorry. But anyways, it's funny because that was one of the things that I struggled with. I was like, how does this just keep going? Like, how do you not run out of people, right? And so I talk about that actually quite a bit when I'm talking to people or when they're sharing their fears. You guys, I just am really open about sharing my own fears of when I started, because nobody does this fearless. I'm like, we all have doubts. We all have fears. Like, but the thing is we all want something to change. So we got to do something about it, right? But anyway, so I've been here for a while. I'm an ambassador Diamond, and kind of how I'm trying to think of my little timeline. I always like to give a timeline, but when I started, my goal was for just like an extra $500 a month. And why $500 a month? Honestly, you guys, because I was just looking to be able to make my extra money that I made at the hospital, picking up extra shifts. And I just wanted to make it from home. Like, I had just had Grady. I was back to work. I loved what I did. I had moved up really fast. As a nurse at the hospital, I was already a charge nurse. And I was young, but I took every step to be there. And so I loved my job, and I was totally wanted to be a working mom. Like, I remember Kevin being like, you don't want to stay home? And I'm like, no, I'm not staying home. Like, I worked my butt off for this, you know? And, but the thing is something did change. And I just remember saying, like, to Kevin, like, I am just done working extra. And that was great. You guys, like, we always have the opportunity to work extra because it's always short. There's always an overload of patients and not enough nurses, right? But at the same time, I was just like, that was one thing I vowed. And it's funny because I look back and I'm like, no, I got back to work and I never, ever picked up an extra shift. And so that's why I took the leap. And I just was like, you know what, if I can make that extra being home, and I can say no to all the extra shifts without feeling guilty, because I'm like, I wanted to pay off my school loans. I wanted to amp up our savings. We wanted to save for a home. We wanted to do all those things. But to do those things and to fast track them, you need the extra money, you know? So that is, so I remember I started 3 months in, I went Diamond. And to be honest, you guys, I did not do social media prior to this. Okay. So I definitely did not have a freaking Instagram, which is where I build now, right? So just kind of going back and just giving you an idea. When I give you guys tips, like, this is all stuff that I've learned. This is me revamping myself throughout the years, all that type of stuff. So my Facebook, I maybe, you guys use Facebook, like, posted once a month. When I started this business, like, I had no idea how to do any of that stuff. And so when I talk to people, I'm like, you don't have to know, you just have to be willing to learn. So I was posting on Facebook. Obviously, I didn't care, you know, what are people going to think? And the best thing about that was, I remember saying when I started, like, I cannot do parties, because the thing was, you guys, is I wasn't wanting more time away from home, and I was wanting time from home. So I had to figure that out. And the thing is we also live somewhere where we do not have family. So both mine and Kevin's family completely out of state. So kids, all the things, like, it's Kevin and I, and that's it. And so I needed to know, like, I can do this business without doing that. And so at that time, you guys, it was like, yep, you can do wrap appointments. You can post on social media to get the word out. And that is literally what I did. I did one-on-ones, I did wrap appointments, and I posted on social media. And with that, I built to Diamond in 3 months. I got the $10,000 bonus. Again, not on my radar. So when we're offering that to people, you guys, I say that. I'm like, I'm going to tell you about this because I think you're worthy of it. I 100% know you're capable of it. But I'm also going to tell you, when it was offered to me, it wasn't why I joined, but I want you to know it's there because I think that you can get it. And so I tell them that right now. And then my 4th month, I went double Diamond. And then, you guys, you get to that point, and I was structured for triple Diamond and, like, well on our way, but then my double Diamond pieced out. And that was like, and I don't mean pieced out how we think of it now, like where people are really dramatic and are like, oh my gosh, I'm going to this, you know. She just kind of was like, life got in the way. It was summertime. She was from Minnesota. Like that's the one time that it's like super nice weather. And so, but we didn't know that, right? So I was I'm trying to think, like when we really realized like, hey, she's gone. This is kind of weird. I mean, I was like 6 months in. So I feel like that's kind of a good, like a time frame where people start kind of dropping off or quitting. And so we didn't even really know how to deal with that. Cause like up until then it was all momentum. So it took me, I remember, when did I lose? We didn't have double diamond bonuses, but I remember I dropped back down to diamond. And I don't know if it was over Christmas time or whatever. I think it was kind of. And then I went to my first conference. So I went to my first conference and I remember they announced bonuses, right? And I was like so far from triple diamond. But you know what? Conference changed everything for me. I was up there and I'm like, no one has a perfect journey. And you know, to be honest, you guys, when the whole comparison thing goes down, I didn't have my upline or people on my sidelines that had what happened to me happen. Like I was the only one. So like no one knew how to guide me. No one was like, hey, and I remember my sponsor even being like, you know what? I thought she was going to quit like over and over. And I'm like, but I never talked about quitting, but she like really thought, but I went to conference and then it took me till that October, our team like blew up in October. So you think about the time of year that's coming right now. I hit triple diamond. So it took me a while. Like if I went double diamond in my 4th month and then it was the next year to go triple diamond, like that was one of my hardest ranks ever. And I'm going to tell you the thing that I learned about that, you guys, was I stopped depending on people to lead my team for me. I stopped waiting for somebody else to do a Zoom. I stopped waiting for, you know, somebody else to hold a meeting in their home. I stopped waiting for those things and I just freaking did it. Like I figured out at that time it was Google Hangout. Like we didn't have Zoom, something super easy. Google Hangout's like 27 steps. But I did those things. I had team all over. So I got up and I would get up in the morning and I would do those things with my team. And you know what? You just have to know you do have something to offer. And I think so many times that we think, or we're like, if I do a Zoom, like, what am I going to talk about? You're going to talk about what you're doing. Like that's what you're going to talk about. You're going to talk about how you're doing your steps to success. You're going to talk about how you just last enrolled your last loyal customer. Tell them what the conversation looked like. Like it does not have to be stuff that you are pulling and you have it worded perfectly or anything like that. I showed them how to map. Like that was a lot of our training. Like I'm like, you have got to know where you're going, because the thing that motivated me the most was always having that breakdown. And it still is to this day. So whether it's like a bill we're paying or like currently our roof is being replaced, you guys, that's like thousands and thousands of dollars in Arizona. I had no idea. Minnesota girl over here. I'm like, oh, you know, I know they replaced this. No, this is like whatever. But the thing is I love things like that because I can break down what I'm doing in my business and I can cover it. Like I could not do that with my nursing check. And I made an amazing check. I was making 6 figures at my job. But the thing is it still wasn't enough at the end of the day. So this is the thing. So that's what I had happen between double diamond and triple diamond. And you know, a lot of times if you feel stuck, I always tell people, I'm like, you have to grow into the next rank leader before you become it. And that is really what I had to do. And then from there, I went triple in October. And then February, I went presidential. So like 3 or 4 months later. And then after that, the next February, I went ambassador diamond. So the thing is, you guys, is that I have learned is that this season that we're in now, if you want to get bonuses, or if you maybe have missed bonuses, so did I. Like I did not get a bonus for triple diamond. I am going to tell you that to this day, I was still just as freaking excited. Like had I just went triple diamond, like really it wasn't even offered. Actually, there were no bonuses for double and triple. But even so, you guys, had I went triple when we thought I was going to be going triple, that person was still going to quit. So it was like, okay, I was probably going to lose my triple rank or whatever it was going to be, And so it was not any less sweet that it took me that much longer to get there. In all reality, I learned a whole heck of a lot. I learned about seasons. I learned about people quitting. I learned about how important always building, like it's not rebuilding, but always adding new life was. and I learned how to lead. And so the thing is, if I want to be presidential, I better know how to lead, right? So I used that momentum going into that. And the thing is I always tell my team, I'm like, this is the time if you want to get those huge bonuses. Because I think at the time, what was presidential? I don't even know. I feel like it was like 50,000 maybe, or I think that's what it was. Anyways, but if you want to get those, it's not like, oh, I go to conference and I'm going to go work for them. You're probably, when you're in some of those higher ranks, you're going to probably fall short of them. So the thing is now's the time to get it going. Now's the time to get it all lined up. Now's the time to go. I mean, do not wait if you're ready to promote, but I'm just saying that is how I was able to get the presidential and I was able to get the ambassador. So same thing for ambassador. We were going to pull the trigger in December, which is crazy. And I remember Pam and Mike and Mark and everyone was like, you're going ambassador in December. So when people talk about like this season coming up, I'm like, this is actually one of my favorite seasons. Like kids are back in school, people are back in routine. And honestly, my busiest months of life are my best months in this business. So I like literally you have got to hear me say that. And that's the thing. When we don't have like crazy schedules and all that kind of stuff, it is so easy to get sidetracked or think I have all this time or we have this or that. It is during the times like right now, we're preparing for a baby. We're back in school. My kids are in multiple sports. We have, home projects going on. My husband's gone. But yet this has been one of my best months. So with enrollments and everything. Okay. So the thing is that I always tell people, I'm like, you just have to be intentional. And then the other thing I'm going to tell you is that I worked full-time as a nurse all the way past Ambassador Diamond. So I was, again, like I did not start this business to replace my job because like I told you, I truly loved it, honestly. And the only reason why I ended up backing down was because, and I slowly did it. Like people at work were like, what are you doing? Like, why are you still here? You do this. And I'm like, cause I like it, But the thing is I slowly backed down and it was more so just changes in the healthcare and all that kind of stuff that really took me away from it. Otherwise I probably still would have did it part-time, but I slowly backed down my hours more so because when my kids got into school and our schedules changed, I just needed to have more time there. And it was nice because I could do that. I had built my business. We had already paid off our debt. Like we had the option to easily do it with little stress, So I did work full time. So one of the questions that I love on this, and it's the first one on here, is just sharing tips on time management, balancing business with full-time jobs or mom life. Did it all. And the other thing that's kind of cool is that I've done the baby stage, right? I had a brand new baby. And now I'm doing the school age stage. And then we're also going to be growing, like we've grown our family the whole time I've been in It Works. Like Grady was 4 months old. So I've gotten to do all the seasons, which again, you guys, I like navigating that kind of stuff because I can help somebody else navigate that. If I have a brand new mom or somebody's like, I don't want to go back to work. And I'm like, well, okay, this is what we're going to do. And this is what I did. And this is how I did it. So when I talk about time management, what it looked like when I had a brand new baby, when Grady was eating or I was breastfeeding him, you guys, that is when like he would eat for 40 minutes. I mean, I don't need to like stare at him for 40 minutes while his eyes are closed, right? So yes, I'm still bonding. I'm holding my baby. I'm doing all that stuff. But that's when I would message. That's when I would throw up a post on social media. That is when I would follow up with some of my team. Once we were done with that, my phone was down. Like I am not the type of person, and I never have been, that's like, oh my gosh, I have to literally stalk my polls I'm waiting to see who's responding. Or I have to, if I've said, leave a comment below, I am not going to go wait and watch to see who's commenting. I'm going to get back to that when I come to go message, and I'm going to message those people. So that's a big thing is I don't do a whole lot of waiting games. And I tell my team that all the time. I'm like, do not get stuck in the waiting game where you think that's work. Like that is very unproductive time. Okay. So that is when and as soon as we would go back down or as soon as Grady would go to sleep, I might nail out some things that I had to do at home, laundry or whatever it is. And then I would use that time. So instead of just sitting back and watching TV, I will tell you that's the first thing that was gone in my life was shows. I remember I would look forward to Dancing with the Stars, and I would do, these were the shows back in the day, right? But the thing is you guys, I don't miss that. That was great. And that's relaxing time. but that was not going to help me pay off my student loans. Like that was not going to help me do any of those things. And so that's probably one thing I tell people that I got rid of that I didn't even realize, but I don't miss it. And I still don't watch TV very often. Like if Kevin hands me the remote, I'm like, I don't even know how to work our guide. Like we do Netflix at night once kids are down, and Kevin usually falls asleep before me anyways, and then I'll do some more work, but that's it. So, and then the other thing is I worked multiple shifts, right? And they were long shifts, you guys. So for Charge, we were there for over 14 hours every time. And it would be like 3 days in a row. And I worked night shift. So I was like oddball, like everyone else is working during the day. I'm not. Like I'm going to work as they're all getting home, right? So again, working odd hours. So what that looked like for me was when I planned calls. So when people were like, hey, I want to know what you're doing, or can I hear a little bit more about the business? You guys, I didn't do that during the day. I didn't wake up early to do that. I did that on my commute, and I would say, hey, I'm going to be driving into work. Can I call you at this time and we can chat through and I can answer all your questions? So I had a drive there and I had a drive home every single day, right? So my drive there was evenings, drive back was in the mornings. So I booked those times to talk to potential distributors. So instead of messaging them and sending them all the information, going back and forth like 47 times, I just got them on the phone. And I would ask, like, does that work for you? So again, when I got home, I could go and I could feed Grady, or I could have breakfast with Kevin before he's off to work, or whatever it was. And then I would lay down, and I just needed like a little bit of time, you guys, just to like get my bearings, because obviously my job was a high stress job and it's like full bore. And so it was like my body was tired, but my mind usually wasn't super tired. And so then I would post another post, right? Knowing I'm going to go to bed for the next 5.5 hours, or probably 5.5 to 6 hours, not a whole lot of sleep. But I would do that, and I would respond to some of the messages, maybe from the people that had seen my post the night before. And again, right, I'm not sitting there messaging them at 3 a.m, you guys. Like I just took the time to do that, put my phone, charged it, went to bed, and then I woke up. I set my alarm for 30 minutes earlier than what I normally was doing before I started at Works, and I would do the same thing. I would follow up, I would answer people's questions, help get people enrolled, and then I would make sure that I did a post, and then I would head out and I would get ready, spend time with my kids, get their dinner and stuff ready. And then if I had a call, I had a call. So it wasn't like I was missing. I didn't use working as an excuse, even though it like consumed my days, right? Because if you think like I'm there for 14 hours, sleeping maybe 5.5, like what does that give me? Not a whole lot of time, right? And so the thing is, you guys, is I knew that I wanted my time to go elsewhere too. So I wasn't looking for a way for this to not work for me. Like I wanted to find a way for it to work. So I think sometimes people are looking for excuses and they just want to say like, oh, that's awesome, I tried it. It's like, no, but no, you didn't. No, you actually didn't try it. So coming from myself too, like, please do not let people convince you of that. Like, or you be like, you know, and honestly, you guys, when people tell me that, I just say to them, I'm like, can you honestly say that for the last 3 months that you did your 6 list every day? Like, it's fine if you don't want to do it. And I tell them this, you guys, like, I'm like, I am never going to talk you into staying. I will never beg you to work towards your goals ever, 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 ever. But I'm just saying, like, when we talk about trying means like showing up every day, right? For your business, whether you're learning something, applying what you're learning, that type of thing. So you guys, I don't let people just convince themselves that they've tried and it didn't work. Like I kind of do call them out, and I don't do it in a mean way, but that's what I do. So now obviously I do get to do this full time. You guys, sometimes that is even harder because I am home. So when you're available, it's like you're kind of almost expected to do other things. Like there's days that I'm like, dang, I should go take a half-hour drive and I could like nail these calls out, you know? So sometimes when you think, or when people are saying to themselves, like, I work full time, and they think that that's a disadvantage, you guys, it is not a disadvantage. Like there's times where I'm like, shoot, like I almost wish I could do that, you know? So now my days look a little bit different. And Kevin works as well, and he does VP. So he is needed, a lot of the time. Sorry, my phone's ringing. So I get up early in the morning. So I was not, obviously I worked nights for 10 years. So I was definitely a night owl, but I'm up probably by like 5:30 in the morning. And that is my time for myself. I'll do self-development. And then I usually nail out a really good power hour. Sometimes I'll plan my posts. I will get some stories made or whatever it is. And then I will get up and I wake my kids up. I have breakfast with them. I pack lunches, get them off to school. And then now we just started school again, right? So I usually come home, and really the next hour and a half is I'm helping people on our team. Like there's just a lot of questions coming in. So I'm helping them. And then I usually try to do one more power hour before I go and get my kids. And then you guys, pickup line, like that's when I follow people. That's when I grow my network. Like I kind of have my routine where I'm like, I'm sitting here anyways. So the other thing is that's when I usually will use the time to go live in my stories and talk about something, is during the pickup line. So again, instead of just sitting there, I'm actually doing something for my business. So then once I get my kids, I mean, we get them home and it's like snacks, homework, and then we're off to sports. And again, like Kevin's not there. So I'm the one driving. I'm behind the wheel. Like I can't be messaging. I can't be posting. I can't be doing those things. And that's okay. Like you don't have to do this 24/7. Like that's the one thing I need, like you guys want to understand. But sometimes people feel like they're doing that because they're not using their time wisely, or they're like not, they're really on their phone, but they're scrolling. They're not necessarily messaging or doing income producing activities. And then the other thing is once I get my kids to bed, so between like the time I pick my kids up and after dinner, like I don't really do a lot of work. Again, like if people are messaging me and they're ready to order, like they can wait, and so I let them wait. Yes, I'll put on a call if I'm not running it like this. I'll put it on and put it in the background and my kids listen to it, like Sunday night calls, Monday night calls. I don't miss those ever. So they're on while we're cooking dinner and doing all that stuff. Or usually like I'm driving back from the rink on Monday nights. So I'll put the call on in my car and listen to it. But then from there,
your kids get into it too.
What? Yeah, my kids know Mark. They know Mike.
I know mine love it too.
Yeah, they know everybody. So, I mean, that's what they're used to. And the thing is you guys, yeah, I'm sure I do have mom guilt on occasion. But the thing is I want my kids to know how we are paying for their hockey, how we are able to go get new gear. Like it doesn't just show up on your doorstep, And so my kids know that. And did they know it? Would they understand it in the beginning? No, but like, I mean, I used to like map, for an hour or whatever it would be. And I'd have Grady up next to me and I'm like, hey, color this or color this. Like we are still doing something together, And so I've never once been like, oh my gosh, I'm this non-present mom. Like, I'm like, okay, if that's the case, then you just need to evaluate like what is taking place. Like, are you including your kids? Are you including your family into this stuff? Are you like, I always, if I'm doing something or going for big promotions, Kevin knows. Like, he straight up knows. It is not a secret. Like, I'm like, hey, I can cook these nights, but I'm not cooking the rest of this. So like you can maybe pick up a couple nights and then we're going to eat out a couple nights. Like, boom, that's it. Right. And so again, he's working, I'm working. We are a working family. That's just what we are. So my kids love that kind of stuff, you guys, honestly. And I've never been like, yes, I do have my separate times and I don't love multitasking all the time, but I'm also not like going to freak out if they run in this room right now. Like they just, you know what I'm saying? Like that's just our norm. So, and then the other thing for time management, you guys, is I make lists. Like if I am talking to people, like I have potential lists, I have those things. So when I go to follow up, it is not scrolling through my messages. It's not trying to search who I talk to. It's not doing any of those things. Like my list, even just from follow up today, like I just write them out. I have my LCs that are supposed to be ordering. I put their phone numbers. Did they come from Instagram? Did they come from Facebook? Where did they come from? And I just shoot them a message. So follow-ups, yes, the fortune is in the follow-up, but it takes me like less than 10 minutes, And again, like that's something I can do while I'm driving if I have this little list, and I can even just voice message. So that's like my biggest tips on time management, is knowing like we all have the same 24 hours in the day. First of all, do you want to make time for this? If yes, find how you're going to do it. Every day it's going to look different. So there's days that I know I'm going to be like on the go 24/7, or maybe we have family here and I'm like, you know what? Those are the days that I'm going to get up early and work. And then I'm also going to have to work once they go to bed, like, so that I can enjoy my family when they're here. But I don't like, the only way it doesn't work is if you don't try to find a way for it to work, or you're trying to do it all at one time. Okay. So what was the other one? So what are some of the biggest struggles you faced in your business and how did you overcome them? Okay. So probably my biggest struggles, let me think, would have been learning that when people quit, it's not because of something you haven't done. Okay. I am definitely one of those people that's, if I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. I'm not going to dabble. I'm not going to do this. It was the same with my nursing job. It's the same thing here. And so at the end of the day, you guys, if you can, ask yourself, did I lead them? Did I provide everything that I possibly could have provided them? Did I give them support? Did I get them to where they were plugged in? You guys, if I can say yes to all of that, I no longer take it personally. I'm like, you know what? That's on them. I don't even have hard feelings about it. Like, I'm like, I 100% know that I gave them everything I have. And you know what, you guys, I've even been in long enough where I've had people that did join me and then they rejoined somebody else. They didn't do anything different. And so that also was something, you guys, that was a real big awakening to me, to be like, no, it's not you. So don't take it personally, because it would. The other thing for me is just knowing like what people started for. So I'm really big at asking anybody that's joining me, what's your goal and what does it mean to you when you hit it? Because that gives me meaning to the new goals being brought into our team. So the other thing that I probably struggled the most with would be just people quitting on themselves all the time, right? All the time. It's like, holy cow. And so the thing is I also, again, I kind of just have a system and I like revisit their why. And I'm like, why isn't this important to you? Or how did this lose its importance to you? Like maybe instead of just quitting, you need to find a new goal. But most of the time, you guys, it's not. Most of the time it's like something that's personally happening, or something that, they're not doing any self-development. So really all they're doing is talking crap to themselves, like literally. And so I kind of go through that. And again, that's, you guys, where I just have the conversation and I just say, like, you can do what you set out to do, but you definitely have to change your mindset, and you can't just do 2 of your 6 lists. Like you need to do all 6 because they all depend on each other, And so I'm like, if you're going to commit, I'm going to tell you to keep going. But if you want to quit and you're looking for a way out, then go ahead and go. Like I just say it. So that was probably one of my biggest struggles. And then, like I told you guys in the beginning, was yes, losing rank that one time. I've never lost rank since then. But losing that, and I think where you get caught up in that comparison, or you're like trying to rush things so fast through, I've kind of let go of that. And honestly, that has just like, that's probably where some of my stress would come from, is like just pressuring myself. And yes, there's urgency. There's a difference between that, or being like, if I don't hit this, like I suck at this, or it's going to suck if I promote and I don't get it, or there's a bonus that I missed. Again, so like when I went triple finally, like seriously, you guys, I think I was doing, I don't even know, like the happiest dance ever, which meant we just had so many diamonds and double diamonds popping on our team, which was just super cool because we have leadership now, right? But it was so funny because the next day they brought back freaking bonuses. And I remember Kevin being like, are you so pissed that you went triple last month? And I'm like, no, do you know how hard I have worked for triple? Like, I was like, no, I am so freaking pumped. And I was like, I don't even care about that, because honestly, again, your perspective just changed. And I was like, them coming out with that is only going to strengthen my triple, because now I have all these people that are ready to run for a bonus because they're getting a second chance. Right.
And it's mindset.
Yeah. And so like when people, even right now, when they're like, well, I didn't get it, how do I talk about it? I'm like, just because you didn't get it doesn't mean that somebody you can enroll can't go get it. Like you have no idea what their network looks like. You have no idea what's driving them. Like you have no idea of any of that. And so I tell my girls now, I'm like, you guys, I'm like, you didn't get the diamond bonus. Literally get 3 people, work hand in hand together through freaking November. And if you pop all 3 of them as a diamond and they get a $10,000 bonus, I'm like, you are almost triple diamond. Like, I mean, just do the math, And so I tell people, I'm like, instead of the focus always being like, hey, how can this person serve me? Think to yourself, how can I serve them? How can I serve these people? I don't have bonuses to go for right now either. You know, so it's like everybody that I'm bringing in, they're on a list and I'm like, you guys are going diamond. Like, this is our plan. This is what we're doing. So that was probably one of my biggest struggles. And the thing is, you guys, is that none of that says where you're going to go or where you're going to end up. So if you've lost rank, who gives a crap? Like, pull up your big girl panties and know, hey, I need to grow into the next rank. I will regain my rank. Plus, I'm going to hit the new rank, you know? And just know that there's people in the top 10 that have lost rank too. Guess why they're in the top 10? Because they didn't quit. They didn't care, you know? And at the end of the day, there were so many times, you guys, that I had to be like, Sarah, you started for $500 freaking dollars a month. Like, and that was a huge aha moment for me. When I had last double diamond, like, I looked back and I was like, I remember, even though I lost my double diamond, I do enroll. I am not a mass enroller like people, you know, who are like 20 DTs a month. That's not me. I've never been that. Guess what? You don't have to be to go ambassador. So don't stress yourself out. But you do have to be enrolling New Life. And so the thing is, though, is that my check was, you know, way above a diamond check. And I remember that first Christmas and I'm like, I'm over here like super upset because this one chick decides to quit who's almost a double diamond. And I'm like, and I'm not going to quit. So I'm like, why am I just going to sit here and suck? I'm not going to do that. And it literally paid for all of our Christmas. Like, it was a completely different Christmas. I'm like, okay, our Christmas was completely paid for and some. Plus, I didn't pick up a single extra shift. So again, like, kind of do a self-check and be like, what are you truly moping about? Like, if that person wasn't going to be there and be one of your diamonds for your triple diamond anyways, like, did you want her to almost get you to triple diamond or go triple diamond and then her quit and then you lose it? Like, no, at the end of the day, you don't, you know? So it's okay. Nobody's journey is perfect. Like the things that you come across, they do not define where you're going or where you're going to go with it. And just know, like, I've always been super open about losing rank. I think more and more people over like the last couple years have also been that. But again, at the time, you guys, like, I was what I felt like was the only one. You know what I'm saying? And we all think that. So just know, like, if there's something bugging you or you're down about it, instead of just letting it eat you alive, like, just start asking. You know, because more than likely somebody's either felt that way or has had that happen, whether you know it or not. And you'll find, like, okay, no one's like, we're all here together, you know? So that is probably my biggest struggles. Let me see. Tips for enrolling distributors and getting them running. Okay. So I mostly build off of Instagram now. Facebook, you guys, I probably used Facebook all the way through Ambassador Diamond, but then it just like got a little bit negative for me. And I was like, oh my gosh. And like politics and all that stuff, I was just like over it. Right. And so I didn't want to be on there. And that's the thing. So I was like, okay, I'm going to open up an Instagram. I'm going to figure this out. And it is so much more my jam. Like, it just is for so many reasons. Like, just what's talked about on there. I just love people are not, I mean, I guess I get it. You can only be so genuine right through your stuff, but it's stuff that interests me. I love that no one's posting 1,700 times a day. I love that I love pictures in general. And so anyways, I reinvented myself pretty much and I learned Instagram and I absolutely freaking love everything about it. Okay. So my distributors come from posting about the opportunity. So you will see that most people have no freaking idea what company I'm even with, which I love. Like when they're like, hey, I don't even like, what do you do? Or like, and they don't know. I'm like, yes, I am freaking doing my job. Like, good, you know? And so, but I will put on there, I always do a call to action on everything. Okay. So if I am doing an opportunity post, you will see where I say text opportunity to, and I put my phone number. You guys, I do not know why people will text me over if I said, shoot me a message on Instagram. They're not going to shoot me a message. but they will text me. And so the nice thing is, you guys, is when you use the same word over and over, I can instantly go into my phone and I can put in opportunity, and it's going to pull up all these people that have messaged me and have been interested at some point in joining. Okay. So super easy follow-up, right? When there's bonuses, when there's something that comes out, maybe it's kits that are on sale, whatever it may be, I can literally type in the same word and it will be the same thing. And I can pull them all up. Again, guess what? My follow-ups will take me 20 minutes compared to maybe 3 hours while you sit and scroll through all these messages. Okay. So I always do that in my posts. And then I'm a big story girl. So I just had a girl say this to me the other day. She's like, I'm just not a writer. Like, I'm not great with words. I'm like, I'm not a writer either. And I really don't enjoy writing, to be honest with you. I enjoy taking pictures. I enjoy editing pictures. I've always liked that, way back even in high school. And I enjoy showing my day-to-day life and what I'm doing. But no, I don't enjoy trying to put words together when you do see a writer, right? And I'm like, that, I would never put my words together like that. So I'm a big story person. So you will see me going live in my stories. And when I say live, like, I mean, just going through the things where it's like the 15 seconds and doing that type of thing. I always share what I'm using. I do not care how repetitive it is. Guess what? Every single one of my customers that is enrolled this month has all got Just Celery. There's a reason for that. It's not because it's annoying that I post it every day. It's because it works, right? So I do take the time at nighttime, you guys. This is what I found. I don't know why this works like this, but I will do my opportunity posts like with a call to action right before I go to bed. And it will be late, you guys, sometimes, because I'm usually up to like 11 or 12 or whatever. And that is also when I create stories too. I'm not trying to do that, you guys, during the hustle bustle of the day. I'm just not, unless it's a video, because I'm not creating that. It takes 15 seconds, like whatever. But as for like my opportunity stories, I put some thought into them and I make them usually at nighttime, or I'll get up if I do it in the morning, but I don't post it until I'm ready to go to bed. And this is why, is that we're all on different time zones. And for whatever reason, it just seems to be that more people see it, because now my people that are Eastern Standard Time, they're waking up and it's already there, right? They've watched my stories, and now that's going to be the first thing that pops up is these opportunity stories. First of all, they're going to work. Like, not a whole lot of people love their job like I loved my job. You will see that a lot of people are not going to work full-time to Ambassador, and that's okay. But we just have to also remember that's, you know, where some people are at. So they get to see that first thing in the morning. And then you know what, you guys, it's still freaking there all day long, right? So it's like done. So I go to bed and I post it, and then I just slowly, like, again, I follow up like in the pickup line or whatever, and I start shooting out the messages from the people that are responding. So those are like my biggest tips for distributors. If somebody lives by me, I will 100% offer to meet them every single time. Like, if somebody is in my area, I'm like, hey, let's just meet for coffee. I'm going to show you this. You can see if it's something that you want to take advantage of and it's a good fit, because 10 out of 10 times when I meet them in person, they're signing up. So if I have the option to do that, great. But again, I enroll off of social media, so a lot of times it's not like that. And then to get them running, I think one of the biggest things is setting, what's the word I want to use? Oh, it's not setting intention. Sorry, I just like literally lost it. God. Oh, expectations. I'm like literally going through my word list here. I set expectations for my people. So I tell them, I'm like, you are not just going to walk in like a natural if you've never done something like this. And even if you have done it at another company, we're different. Like, I'm just going to tell you that right now. So I tell them, I'm like, the way that you are going to be the most successful, you're going to be able to get your shopping spree, you're going to be able to do those things, is if you let me coach you and you actually take what I am telling you to do and you do it. And I'm like, it's going to feel weird. It might feel uncomfortable. Like, I'm like, I felt all those things when I started too, but I did it anyways and it worked. And so I tell them that. I'm like, we will probably be talking every single day. You will probably, if you are actually applying yourself, be shooting me off 10 messages a day. Okay, so I set up those expectations. And when you do that, I probably started doing that like a year and a half ago. when you do that, it's amazing how they meet those expectations. Like, I'm not like, they don't even blink an eye at when you're giving them a story or you're doing those types of things. And then I also, you guys, I guide them. Like, I am not going to give them every single word for every post, for every message. Like, I don't even know where that comes from, but we didn't have any of that when I went ambassador even. Like, we had none of that. And so I tell them that. I'm like, this is where you're going to find what the products do. Okay. And I'm like, this is where I go and I get the bullet points right there. You're going to see what the loyal customer price is, what the retail price is. This is how you can word it. And you're going to plug them in. So you guys, I get them working. Like, I do not just give the answers. If they're like, hey, does this have caffeine? I'm like, hey, go check here. Like, I tell them that, because the thing is I used to do all the other things, and like, I'm like, oh, I'll just give them this or give them that, or I'll tell them what I would put, or I used to even freaking create posts for people. And I'm like, they're not learning anything. And then they don't do anything. And then that whole thing has like stressed me out because it's taken a lot of my time, right? So I tell them that. I'm like, I am not going to build your business for you. Like, I will not. You guys, I mean, I even have people that will ask for distributors. And I'm like, I'm sorry. Like, no one gives me distributors. Like, no, I'm not going to do that for you, you know, like, and so the thing is but I also tell them why. I'm like, I want you to, if I am sick one day, I don't want you to not get any stories done because I'm sick. Or if something happened in my family, or I joke all the time, and maybe it's not a joke, but I tell everybody, I'm like, if I got hit by a bus tomorrow, I want you to know how to map. I want you to still go Ambassador Diamond without me. You do not need me. Okay. And so I guess the biggest thing, you guys, with starting new people is I do give them some content, but I also teach them how to start saving their own content and how to create their own content. And I set expectations all the time. And I will even say, like, if they're 2 weeks in and they haven't done anything, I'm like, hey, you know, I saw that you haven't done much of anything to build your business. And like, one of your biggest fears was losing money. Like, this is exactly how you're going to lose money if you just sit. Like, what's holding you back from getting going? Because it's not content. It's not having this or that, right? And that's the thing at the end of the day, you guys, it's something else, because we have so many more resources than we ever had available to us. And I'm like, that's just not an excuse at all. Okay. So I think that's my biggest thing on getting distributors is I do my story posts, and I usually do them at nighttime. I always have a call to action. And then on my posts, I always do the like text to blah, 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 blah. Okay. And then I do message you guys. I'm I'm probably more like what people would call like attraction marketing too. But if I'm scrolling through and I think they would be amazing, and I can see that they're constantly plugged into all my stories, I shoot them a message and I just say, like, I always tell people, I'm like, nope, I don't have a script. I just say, I ask myself, why do I think this person would be good? Why am I going to them in the first place? And then that is what I start my message out with. I'm like, hey, I have loved connecting with you. You are so positive. I see that you're chasing 3 little rugrats, you know, along with the rest of us and deep in mom life. And I just say to them, I just wanted to reach out to you and invite you to join my team because I think you would be amazing at this business because, and then I always just say, and selfishly, I love working with you. Like, have you ever been interested in being able to create some extra income working from home? That's all I say. So, but I am not like, oh, I'm going to send 50 messages a day. That's just not what I do. But I am present in my stories every single day. And you will see that the majority of my posts are about the opportunity. Because the thing is I tell people by default, if they're not ready, or you get to hear like, oh, but I haven't tried the product, which I hadn't either. They can become your 4 loyal customers, right? That you're trying to get, or your whatever. I mean, if you're getting more, whatever it may be. But and then I tell my girls the same thing. Like, if I feel like this is somebody that I think would be awesome at it and they're going to sign up as a loyal customer, I just say, hey, I'm just going to throw it out there really quick, because if somebody wanted to have invited me, I don't know that I would have even known it was an option, but you're already going to use the products at wholesale cost and at discount. Would you be interested in earning free product and being able to make an extra couple $100 a month? Like, that's all I say. So I do bring it up in most conversations. So I always tell people, like, if you're not asking, or you're not bringing it up, or you're not talking about it, you're not going to get distributors. So that is my tip on distributors.
I have a question.
Yes.
Okay. On your Instagram, since you go mainly through Instagram, because I've noticed when I go through Facebook, I get a lot of people think I'm like salesy, and people think I'm trying to like I don't get a lot of bites. Like a lot of people kind of, and I try not to sound salesy. I kind of take that same approach like you do, where you know, I kind of just say, you know, hey, like for instance, like if people comment, like I kind of took your advice where if somebody comments on my picture or on my post or something, I reach out to them because it's showing that they're seeing my feeds. So, but when I reach out to them, it kind of seems they seem very annoyed.
Yeah.
So on your Instagram, how do you pick who you look up, or who you like? Is there reach out to? Yeah, who you reach out to? Is it public? Is it private? Your Instagram private? Is it public?
My Instagram is public, and it has been for since I started.
Okay. Mine's private, so I just didn't know if that makes a big difference.
Yeah, and I don't know. You know, I mean, and that's the thing too, you guys. I'm not a huge like number watcher. I know some people get so obsessed with like likes and comments and like, you know, how many people are following me back, or like you just kind of have to wipe that to the side. And I think somebody said it the other day. They're like, you know, I may get 50 likes, but I'm also enrolling 16 distributors. You know, and maybe somebody else is getting 400 likes. That's fabulous. But then they're also the ones that are having a hard time getting their steps to success. Like at the end of the day, that doesn't really matter. And I think to us, like, I don't know if it's an ego thing, or we're just like, oh my gosh, they don't love my content. But I don't like, I just make sure I don't even like go there with my mindset at all, you know? And then when I reach out to somebody, I usually have interacted. Like, I have been liking their stuff, or I have, you know, been commenting on their stuff. Or if you see somebody that you like and you're like, I do want to approach them. Yeah, you need to get on there and you need to make sure they're on your list, and you need to be interacting with them. So I don't just like, you know, somebody follows me one day and I'm like shooting them a message because I think their page is cute, you know? And then, but between finding those people that I genuinely do want to invite to do it with me, and then doing the attraction marketing and the posts and then my stories, I have a lot of conversations going. I do have a lot of potentials that are there, you know? And again, you guys, like, I pack my chute full. Like, I do not do the waiting game. And I tell people this all the time. I'm like, I am not waiting for the girl that said yes. I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, she's not enrolled until she's enrolled. So that whole week, even if she's going to sign up on Friday, Monday through Friday, I don't care if that would have been my third distributor or whatever it is. Like, I still am working on distributors all the time. So that's, and then that's great, because some months it's like, if I could enroll 8 people, and then all of a sudden if next month I don't, but I'm getting all these 8 people off and running, it equals itself out, you know? And so, I guess, I don't know if that really answers your question, but I don't just like, if somebody just likes my thing, I don't just like shoot them off a message. So if I feel like I'm like running dry, I am going to go pay attention to see who's been liking my stuff. And I'm going to see, do I like their stuff? Is this somebody that I like? If so, yeah, they're added to my list, and I'm going to start interacting, and I'm going to warm them up a little bit. And you guys, I think Jade said it, but she was like, there's a difference between creating a relationship or just being relatable to your people that are on there. And I do think that that's huge. Like, I'm not, if I feel like I can reach out to them without, you know, them getting mad or whatever, or I know that it's genuine on my part, I'm going to do it. I'm not going to sit and wait a certain amount of time. I'm not going to do any of those. Like, I just say, to heck with the rules. Like, follow what feels good, you know? So that's kind of what I do. And like I said too, I do pay attention to who watches my stories on a regular basis. And those are people that I kind of hone in on, and I make sure I'm interacting with. So, because obviously if they're doing that,
if you have a relationship, like if you've built up a relationship, or even if they've just been watching your stuff and they feel like they know you, then when you reach out to them, they're going to feel comfortable like asking any questions, or like I send happy birthday messages. You probably do the same thing, but like every day I'll send people happy birthdays, right? And I sent one this morning, and I've never talked to this girl about the products. She's never liked a single post. And she was like,
oh, thank you so much. That's so sweet. And when you get back from your vacation, I would love to meet up and find out what you're doing. And I was like, who is this person? Like, you know what I mean? But they feel like it's like a safety net for them.
Well, and it's not weird to them. Like, they've been watching you, and it's not just out of the blue either. And so I think it just comes off a lot more genuine, which is ultimately, like, that's all of our goals. Like, I don't think people are just out there to try to be cold. You know what I'm saying? So I just think it takes just really paying attention to the things that make you feel good. Like, honestly, I have people reach out to me all the time, like, about different companies. And again, I'm not rude. Like, I just tell them, like, thank you so much, for thinking of me. That's a huge compliment. And, actually, I've been running my own business, something similar to what you are doing for the last 7.5 years. I wish you luck. Like, I am not, like, it is a compliment. And if somebody came back at me all rude, like, oh, is this, I would just say, whoa, like, actually, that's a huge compliment, because I don't just message anyone and everyone. And that is the truth. I really don't. Like, if I'm scrolling and I've added people and all of a sudden, something gets in there and I'm like, whoa, where did that person come from? Like, they're gone. I don't even play. Like, I'm like, no. Like, I am also doing the interview process. Like, I am not here just to get anyone and everyone. That's really, honest to God, not my goal. Again, you guys, going back to being a person who loved what they were doing, I am also not looking for, like, the broken people all the time. Okay. So I know, like, yes, if I saw something and I felt, again, led to message somebody to be like, hey, I would love to offer this to you. I've seen some of your posts, blah, blah. But I do want the happy-go-lucky people. Like, I want the people who, have positivity, who have a good outlook. Maybe they are going through some crap, but they're still posting great things, and that type of thing. Like, I know what you're looking for, too. So if you feel like, oh my gosh, I feel like these people have been a freaking wreck. Like, are you trying to hop in and save all these people? Like, that's great if you get a few here and there, but I'm like, no, I do want the mom that wants to be able to help with, things at home, or wants to be able to take their family to Disney and pay cash for it. Like, I want the person that wants to be debt free. Like, and those are the things that I post about. So those are the things that I'm hoping to attract. Okay. So that kind of actually did talk about attraction marketing, because that is pretty much kind of what I do. Let me see. Who's been in a while? Can't use a lot of. Okay. So this one was the one that talks about they can't use a lot of the products due to allergies. Here's the thing. Really, you do not need to be, even able to use all the products. Like, I always tell people, I'm like, you need to love what our company is about. You need to love what these products can do for other people. And you need to find 1 or 2 products that you absolutely love for yourself. And yeah, does that suck, with the allergies and stuff like that? But that can happen with just, anybody. People can develop allergies or whatever it is. But you guys, in the beginning, like, we legit had wraps and defining gel. And I'm going to be really honest. At that time, I was breastfeeding a kid who sucked the life out of me. I was the smallest I had ever been. Where the freak was I going to wrap? Like, I'm just being real, And so the thing is like, I always tell people, I'm like, just because maybe a product isn't for you, it doesn't mean that it's not for somebody else, And so have I been able to do the cleanse? Have I been able to do Thermofite X? Have I been able to do any of those while I'm pregnant? No, I can't. But guess what? I still sell the snot out of all of them, And so again, it just goes to asking them. You can share what you have your hands on. And at the end of the day, I always ask the person, it doesn't even matter if they're commenting on hair, skin, and nails. I just ask them, what are your goals? Because so many things grab people's attention, and then that can turn a 30 BV order into a 120 BV order. Okay. So again, just because I'm not using something doesn't mean that I'm not going to necessarily not promote it. So, and we just have so many different products. And I tell my girls the same thing. When I'm getting them started, you guys, I tell them, I want to know which products you are excited about. So tonight, I want you to go look at your website. I want you to go through some of those things and tell me which ones you are, because we can get your auto ship set up, and this is what we're going to do. Okay. So again, like, I tell them to hone in on a few, because really, you guys, I didn't look at my entire website. Like, I wasn't starting for the wraps. I think I started I wanted to do Fat Fighters and New You. And I'm trying to think. Oh, and greens. I wanted greens. I mean, I just was like, dear God, if I can get my fruits and veggies in and know that I have done something for my body today, like I'm going to do that. So that was,
I thought we only had wraps.
Yeah. See, so that's the thing.
I thought we had one product.
So, and the thing is, you guys, is I don't post about every product either. I don't post a new product every single day, but yet I still somehow sell ThermoFight X and Fat Fighters, even though I post about just celery and coffee. You know, so it's just like, again, I think it's just how you're having the conversation with people. And I get right, like I said, I go right into, I ask my people, whether they're potential loyal customers, whether they're potential distributors, I ask them so many questions about themselves that it brings like the whole salesy thing like out of there. You know, so I think that's another big thing too. Instead of like just spewing information, think to yourself, how many questions have I asked them about them? So that's a big thing for me. And I also feel like that helps me seal the deal very quickly. Okay. I kind of told you guys what my day looks like now and what it looked like when I was working. My non-negotiables is my 6 list. Okay. So I'm going to probably have to get going here in just a few minutes, but I'm just going to put this on here. My non-negotiables are my 6 list. So every single day you will see that I have posted, I have done my stories, I have a call to action in my stories of some sort. That's like my open sign. I always tell people, I'm like, how are you going to say that your business is open today? And then I message. So I do invite people to do this with me, whether it's they've commented on my polls or whatever it may be, I message. I always follow up. You guys know that I make my little lists. So my follow-ups are super, super quick and easy to go through. I grow my network. That is 100% a non-negotiable every single day. I do that. I just set a timer 3 times a day and I go and I add people to my Instagram. And then self-development, I wake up in the morning. You guys know that. So I wake up in the morning and I do that. Even if it's just one chapter from a book, I will do that. And then the other one is I always have my maps and then my team. So those are my 6. Okay. I talked about messaging. Okay. Oh, how do you stay motivated when life gets crazy? Okay, so here's the thing. At the end of the day, I always ask myself, if I don't do something for my business, how am I going to feel today? If I am not working, intentionally taking control of working towards the goals that I have for my family and for myself, how am I going to feel? Okay. The truth of the matter is that a lot of times when life gets absolutely insane, so many people, this is the first thing that they like put to the wayside, right? And that's just like a natural thing. I don't think people mean to do that. They're just trying to think like, holy cow, if I can only have this much time and focus on this, this is like the first to go. The thing is, you guys, is I've watched this for 7.5 years and they never feel better by doing that. And at the end of the day, if a day goes by, you guys, where I haven't done my 6 list, I feel like crap. So I'm like, it's just the business. I have always committed to showing up and doing something for my business every single day. Now that I do it full time, like, yeah, I am not going to not do my 6 things. So, for me, it's a non-negotiable. Like there's other things that I do 100% know are negotiable. Like I can put off a shower. I can put off probably laundry one more day. You know, like I can put some of those things out. I can leave the toys on the floor. Currently, there's toys on the floor. I can do those things so that I can at least go work my business for the day or for that night or whatever it may be. Because at the end of the day, you putting the control of where your goals are going to go or when they're going to happen into somebody else's hands is not going to make you feel better. It truly is not. And so, and again, like I said, there's a reason why people have quit to do just that, right? Life is crazy. Life is this, or somebody got extremely sick or whatever it may be, but they come back. It's because the option of not doing it is not better. So that's how I stay motivated, is knowing that it does not make me feel any better at the end of the day, knowing that I haven't worked towards my goals, to be honest with you. And then, personal development books. This is one of my ones that I just read. Obsessed, okay? Building a Story Brand. Love, love, love. It was like a freaking super quick read. If you haven't read Chasing the Lion, that was like one of my first self-development books ever. Well, actually GoPro by Eric Worre was, and that was super quick. And it was actually really good still. But the other one was, Chase the Line is incredible. Like I still have notes on my phone that I go and I'll like read through sometimes in self-development in the morning. This is one that I'm just starting right now. It's jab, jab, right kick, or right hook. Sorry. I was reading it backwards. And again, it says how to tell your story in a noisy social world. So this one was recommended. So this was one. And then one of my other ones that I loved was the 5-Second Rule by Mel Robbins. And
it changed my whole world.
What? Did it?
Yeah. Because I was so scared to do stuff. Like even just like normal everyday stuff, right? And doing that and just going like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. And just doing it, like life changing.
It's so good. So like if you ever have a super like overthinker on your team and like nothing you say is going to help them because they're just going to find a way around it, or like I tell them, I'm like, you need to go read that. I'm like, you need to go read that. I'm like, you are overthinking instead of overdoing. And you would always rather err on the side of overdoing than overthinking. So, and then I did just start, well, I've obviously read the Rachel Hollis books. And then I just started this one too, the little Bible study that they're doing. So this is what I'm currently doing right now. So those are my ones that, they're the ones that aren't hiding and that are right in front of me and on my bookshelf and stuff. So that's usually my go-tos. Okay, let me answer one more. Okay, I told you. I think we've like actually hit them all.
I have a question.
Yes.
On the Thermophyte, I have a lot of people that come to me with that. Now, I think with a lot of people, they think that they're going to take and just drop the weight, but I try and explain to them that it's not a miracle worker. Like you have to change your diet as well. Mm-hmm. Like I think they just think that they can still eat the same and it's just they're going to drop 30 pounds.
So again, I just think that goes back to like setting expectations. And like I said, I ask so many questions. Like I don't care if they say weight loss. I'm like, oh, how much? Like, I mean, I don't just like say, hey, this is this, right? And then I always pick products that work hand in hand together. And I tell them, I do not want to know what you're going to change. I want to know how your life is right now. Okay. And then anytime that I'm doing Thermophyte X, you guys, I tell them, I'm like, your water intake has got to be good. Like it has to be good. And then also it is better with a low calorie diet. So like, what is your calorie intake, And so we talk about that kind of stuff too. And most of them, I mean, they do pretty good. Yeah. I've had some that of course that's the only thing they bought. And then they're like, oh, it's not working. Like I had one girl that was like, oh, it's making, what'd she tell me? You guys, it was just the most absurd thing. It was like, I feel like I can smell smoke all the time. And I'm like, okay, I'm sorry. Like what?
I think she's
and you know what, you guys? Like I was just like, wow. I was like, okay, well, I'm like, that might be coming from something else. And I'm like, I have yet to ever hear that. So it's like, again, kind of take into consideration. And I always go back and I self-reflect. I'm like, am I setting these expectations? Because if you are, like when people come back to me or they're like, well, this isn't working. I'm like, whoa, okay, like let's figure this out. Because I'm like, I've had so many other people follow this exact regimen and I get people are all different, but like what we have to figure out what our missing link is. Mm-hmm. And the thing is, so I do ask and I ask for like before and afters. I say like, I want to see them. I don't care if it's been 20 days, like, let me see them, and then again, when I sign up loyal customers, I tell them, I'm like, if something is not working for you, do not wait 2 months in to tell me that. And so I think that's like a big thing. And so when I set those expectations and I open that communication, I just feel like my customers are just so much more satisfied. And, I didn't do that in the beginning because I didn't know, I didn't know to do that until I started, having people that would wait that long. And then they were just like, almost rude about stuff. And I was like, wow, I was just trying to help you. But instead I do set some of those expectations, and it's nice because then I feel like I'm not having to go find my loyal customers and talk to them. Like they're coming to me, they're sharing their wins, they're sharing how they're feeling. which I use a lot for my business once I ask them if I can. Plus, if they're getting great results, they get added to my potential distributor list instantly. So that's kind of what I do with that. And the thing is too, you guys, if somebody's wanting to lose a ton of weight, I'm not only going to suggest Thermofite X. Like I'm going to wear, like maybe if their calories are whatever and they're higher, I say like, are you a coffee drinker? Because one, we could really instantly reduce your calories is you doing keto coffee in the greens, having that for substitute right off the bat. You know, and so sometimes I have the keto coffee with the chocolate greens and then the Thermofite X to figure out products for them.
Okay.
One question.
Any other?
When it comes to like people complimenting you on like, I don't even know what you sell, how do you promote the business but also hold that like secret of like, I don't really know what you're promoting, but I want in on it kind of thing, but also get those loyal customers if you're not promoting it? Like,
so the thing is my customers are usually coming from my stories because I am showing the products that I'm using. Am I saying like, this is the It Works keto coffee? No. I will say like, this is, you know, my fat burning coffee. This is what it does. And I describe it, but I'm not like, it doesn't just plaster like It Works all over the place, right? Same thing with collagen. Like tonight, I already knew because I'm single mom in it. Like I was like, you know, I mean, I'll still do videos with my kids around, but I already knew. Like I posted about the opportunity the last few nights. Today, I'm going to post about collagen, you know, and so I kind of already had that game plan. So like my stories are loaded with products and it's products that I use because I do use a lot of the products. Even pregnant, I use a lot of the products. And so, but when it comes to like, if people don't know, I just tell them. Like, I'm like, oh, I'm with It Works. And I'm like, this is a health and wellness company or whatever it is. Or if they're asking like what I'm doing, I am not ashamed that we're a multi-level marketing company. I am not ashamed that I'm a part of that, like at all, because at the end of the day, that makes more millionaires than any other road that somebody can take. And the other thing is, you guys, is I also think that I did what yours to do. Like I slimmed in 4 years. I walked out with the BSN, right? I was making 6 my career. You guys, that wasn't going to help us any faster. Like it was like still like we were like, gosh, we don't even spend that much money. Like, I mean, I started this business to have credit cards. You know, I am so confident in the opportunity we have because it is so many gaps that my amazing job was not going to do. So like, I think that was one of the things that when they're like, oh, what do they say? Like, it's all about how you approach it. Like if somebody's coming at you kind of like that, I always tell people, I'm like, I do not take defense on anything. Like literally I don't. If somebody's like, oh, I've tried that and it didn't work. And I was like, oh, or like sometimes I'm like, oh, that's funny because we actually just came out with it. So like, when did you try it? You know, like, and I'll say stuff like that, you know, and I'm just nice about it. But the thing is too, is that maybe somebody did sign them up and didn't help them with anything. Or maybe they just threw them on the wraps and they were like, oh, I thought that was weight loss. Well, it's not, you know? So if you actually knew what the wraps are for now. So I always tell people don't know what they don't know. So instead I'm like, I will educate them and just say, actually, you know, this actually has allowed me to replace my nursing income and it surpassed it actually. And so it is a real thing. And I've done it for this long, you know, or you can even share other people's stories, but you guys, I do not back down. I do not take the defense on things. People don't know what they don't know. And it's so crazy that when you kind of change your mindset on that, how people circle around really quick in a positive way. Like a lot of those people that come off almost kind of snippy in the first, like they become some of my best loyal customers or they become some of my teammates. And I'm like, yeah, remember when you had that little attitude at first? And they're like, well, we didn't know. And that's really what it is. They don't know what they don't know, you know? And so anytime that you can like back it up with a story or you have your own, you know, before and afters or whatever it is, like, I mean, that's what I do. You know, I give them as much information as possible and I educate and I just kill it with kindness because it's never led me wrong. And at the end of the day, I don't feel paralyzed when I get asked a question, or I'm not like, oh, is she, or if like somebody's like, is that, or my husband thinks that's a pyramid scheme. And I'm like, well, actually, you know, what's funny is I didn't even know that term until somebody asked me when I joined, but then I looked it up and I can tell you we are far from it. Like, and I'll just voice that or something, you know? And so I just let them know. And then it's like, it's crazy because people are like, I mean, again, they're just like, okay, like I had no idea either. So that is kind of how I do that.
I actually had, I had a person who, it was from a distributor host a post, and then she goes, oh, I don't want to do those. It's a pyramid scheme. And I said, oh, really? And she gave me this big spiel about how she's like university educated and she's an accountant and she like makes 6 figures a year and works 80 hours a week and all this stuff, right? And I'm like, oh, okay, well, pyramid schemes are actually illegal, but with your education, like I'm sure you know that. This is what it is, right? And it was so funny because she was so rude at the beginning. I think I posted it in the group in the team chat. She was so rude.
They are in the beginning. And then like if you just cowered down to that, they're gonna continue to be mean. But if you're like, oh, actually, and you are just kind of like educate but are kind, it is so funny how people are like, oh my God, this person's actually super nice. And they're like, and I came in totally being like, you know.
Yeah. By the end of the conversation, she was asking me about the business.
Yeah.
And it was so funny because it was just like, in the past, I would have, like you said, like been cowered down and been like, oh my God.
I did too in the beginning because I didn't know. And like I said, somebody was like, I remember walking out and being like, Kevin, what the heck's a pyramid scheme? And he was like, what? And I'm like, no, seriously. And he's like, oh my gosh, did somebody say that? I'm like, yeah, but what is it? And I like looked up the definition. I'm like, I was like, and then I remember messaging them. I'm like, do you know what the definition of that is? Because I just looked it up because I had never even heard of that. And then I was like, yeah, we're far from, you know, whatever. But you guys, here's the other thing is in the area we live, this is a state where there is just so many entrepreneurs. Like, I'm going to be really honest. And I love that about it. And, you know, I'm sure there's ones that are like, this one's better than the other, like whatever, funny kind of thing to me. But I will tell you that, yes, it is really hard to find where you can get the finance side of things and the freedom side of things outside of network marketing or outside of, because the thing is even if you're running your own successful business, you cannot make residual income off that. Like until you start training people, which is exactly what we do, right? And you do that type of thing, it's you. So it's like, yes, I have friends that they make bank. Like they're making great money. But guess what? They're also a slave to their job. They also only get 8 vacation days a year and they feel like they can't even take 8 because it's a hot mess when they get back. Like they don't have the freedom. They have finances, but if you don't have the time to do anything with that, like, I mean, great. You know what I'm saying? And so it's crazy. And it's been super eye-opening to me here too, that there's people again where we're like, oh, they're good and they're well off and they're this and that, but it's like they have zero freedom of time. Like here, you can get both. And that's the God honest truth, you know? And I tell people every day, I'm like, yeah, I work when I'm home for 3.5 weeks in Minnesota or whatever we are in the summer because we leave here. But it's like, I also remember that I get to be gone for an entire month because I have chosen to work, right? And so it's not hard for me to get up in the morning, get a couple hours of work, enjoy my day, respond to things throughout the day when I take a few moments, and then maybe throw in another power hour at nighttime. Like that is not hard. You know what I'm saying? So what's hard was having to stay here all summer long or never getting to spend the 4th of July where I wanted to spend the 4th of July. What was hard was spending Christmas away from my kids every other year. Like, no, thank you. I don't want to do that. You know? So that's another thing just to keep in mind. If you feel like, you know, you aren't sure or you feel like you lack a little bit of confidence when it comes to the opportunity, is no, this offers both the finance side and the freedom side of things. That is super hard to find. And there's a lot of people that take the freedom side, but then they sacrifice finances and they are cutting it paycheck to paycheck or paycheck to credit card or whatever it may be. Or they have the money side and they have zero time. So this is something that I'm like, confidently I can be like, no, I have it. Like this offers all of it. So it's super nice.
I love that.
Friends, I gotta go because my kids have been on cruise control for like an hour and 15 minutes and they're doing really good, but I gotta make sure that they're gonna go to bed on time.
No worries. Thank you so much for doing this.
Yes, you're so welcome. I hope you guys have an amazing time.
You so much fun. Thank you.
Bye, you guys.
Bye, Hannah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
She is like the sweetest thing.